Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our top stories. Bamoun Sultan Ibrahim Njoya, the Sultan joined his ancestors this morning where he passed out at American Hospital. He collapsed and died this afternoon at the Alaska Street in Kumba Meme Division, West Region of Cameroon. And today is observed worldwide as the World Tourism and Economic Contribution of the tourism towards gaining the Sustainable Development Goals. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Sunset in Fumban, West region of Cameroon, following the death of the spiritual guide of the Bamoun people, Ibrahim Njoya. The Sultan died or joined his ancestors this morning, where he passed out at American Hospital in Paris. Kejan Henry Ateme briefly revisited the situation. His story.
The news of his demise came limping like a chameleon to the rays of immortality, and finally bogged the social media global space that the Sultan of the Bamoun people, His Royal Majesty Ibrahim Njoya, is dead. The spiritual guide of the Bamouns is reported to have died in the American Hospital in Paris this Monday, September 27, 2021. Inside sources from the Sultanate say the Sultan Ibrahim Njoya was evacuated to Europe 2 weeks ago after he developed respiratory complications linked to COVID-19. Born on the 27th of October 1937 in Fumban, Ibrahim Njoya took over the crown in 1992 from his father Seydou Njumalu Njoya. Before he became the Sultan, Ibrahim Njoya had occupied top positions in the administrative ladder, serving right inside the presidency. At his death at the age of 83, Njoya was a senator at Cameroon's Upper House of Parliament.
As you heard in that report, the Bamoun community is in tears following the death of their spiritual guide, Ibrahim Njoya. The Paramount Palace was crowded with sons and daughters who came to get first-hand information. The following report paints the ambience at the palace this morning. It is a sad atmosphere at the Bamoun Palace this Monday, September 27, 2021. News of the death of the Sultan Ibrahim Njoya has gone viral, and many are streaming into the palace to get first-hand information. Hot tears roll down cheeks, while others remain confused and shocked. In total mourning and wailing, they poured out their pains. Many hold souvenirs of their fallen king.
This news is very difficult. For those who know Sultan, he was a very good fellow. The CPDM lost leader.
According to some elderly persons, custodians of tradition, the news of the death of the Sultan of Bamoun has been made official for all to mourn him. He has been described as a great leader, a warrior, spiritual guide, and many more. Besides being the Sultan of the Bamouns, His Majesty Ibrahim Njoya has held several important positions in government, notably Ministry of Information, Ministry of Youth and Sports, as well as Cameroon's ambassador to Egypt, and many more. point out that the 84-year-old king was reportedly suffering from COVID-19 ever since the announcement. Hours ago, Muslim faithfuls and sympathizers have been trooping into the premises of the palace in Fumban in the west region of Cameroon to mourn the king. The entrance to the palace is, however, reported to have been sealed by the SDO for known security titans around the palace. Sultan Ibrahim Joya, a civil administrator by training, has occupied several positions in government, from Secretary of State for Information in 1960 to Director of Cabinet at the Ministry of Armed Forces to Deputy Minister for National Education, Youth, Culture and Sports, before diving to diplomacy, where he was appointed ambassador to Equatorial Guinea and then to Egypt. He then returned to government, where he occupied other important positions. Now, the Bamoun community here in the city of Douala are equally in tears because of one of them who gave their reactions or who gave their impressions about the fallen king.
The death of the Bamoun king. This very sad news is a matter of concern, not only for Bamoun people, but for all Cameroonians. Because, as you know, he was one of the voice of hope for the Cameroon people, and maybe for future generation. So, concerning the Bamoun in particular, he was the symbol of unity, the main guardian of our heritage, or cultural heritage, and I'm crying too much this morning because he built one of the important museums, one of the biggest one in Africa, and that museum was not inaugurated. So he passed away and he left this important achievement for our prosperity. We are on our knees also to pray, to ask for the mighty God to help us to carry out for him a good funeral, to pay the tribute we have, everything we have to do to say to our father, thank you for all you have been doing for Bamoun people. We also have another huge task, is for the future king to see. God must help us to see and to guide the new king, because the heritage is incredible, huge. It's a huge work, and really, as we see, we have a lot of challenge.
Another sad news, the pioneer government delegate to the Kumba City Council and City Mayor Victor Kele is reported dead. Reports say he collapsed and died this afternoon in his residence at Alaska Street in Kumba, Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon. He was government delegate for 14 years before being voted city mayor, a position that was contested by his challenger, Gregory Mewano, a petition that was declared admissible by the Supreme Court and a verdict passed. The wranglings led to a stalemate, and activities of the council were grounded, both finally reconciled in February 2021 for the interests of development. The death of Victor Kellengo has struck the entire Meme community, as it is still unclear if he was suffering from an ailment that led to his death. So we'll come back to that in subsequent editions of the news. Violence involving farmers and herders in Central African sub-region as perpetrators and victims has been surging in recent years. Since 2010, there have been over 15,000 deaths caused by herders and farmers conflicts. In the following story, we talk about a workshop that is ongoing in the city of Douala to address the problem of farmers and herders. Increasing violence conflicts between herders and farmers in Central African sub-region and beyond remains preoccupying, with experts predicting doom if nothing is done to resolve the problem, and fast.
All three countries that are part of it, Cameroon, RCA, and Chad, are affected by similar challenges. The idea of this workshop, or the purpose of this workshop, is to look at the challenges that are faced.
The statistics are frightening. Since 2010, there have been over 15,000 deaths linked to farmer-herder violence, with some of the causes resulting from population pressure, changes in land use, growing social inequalities, declining trust between communities, and many others, thus rendering traditional dispute resolution processes less effective. In this hall, experts from 3 African countries, that is Chad, Cameroon and Central Africa, are brainstorming on challenges and other factors to quickly address the problem from its roots.
We organized the workshop with the representative of Chad as well as Central African Republic to make sure we can share the best practices.
The partnership that we enjoy with the PBF Secretariat to advance this issue is one that we will continue to work along. As Professor of the coordinator for the PBF Technical Secretariat said, we will be ending this project due to the lack of funding as of October 2021.
In Cameroon, one of the most hit zones remains the northern parts of Cameroon, not excluding the northwest region. There are expectations that measured decisions taken at the September 27 meeting could pave the way for countries to adopt policies that would quickly address farmer-herders conflicts and build sustainable development. 3 persons are reported to have died in a ghastly road accident that occurred this morning at Mutengene. The accident involved a truck and a mini bus. 2 persons died on the spot, while the 3rd person died a few minutes later. Reports say the other victims are battling within life and death at the Bingo Hospital in Mutengene. The cause of the accident is not yet known, but many have blamed the accident on high speed. The alleged distribution and consumption of roadside medication is responsible for more than 30% of deaths in Cameroon. The revelation was made by the National Order of Pharmacists meeting in Douala for a conference on the theme drug peddling. Cajun Henry Atembe reports.
The National Order of Pharmacists have revealed that 30% of Cameroonians are victims of roadside medications with damaging effects. Meeting in the conference room of the Cameroon Businessmen Association, GICAM, on Saturday, September 25, 2021, the order revealed damaging statistics of the number of deaths caused by roadside medications. 100,000 people in Africa are known to die each year of roadside drug consumption. This illegal distribution and trade in counterfeit pharmaceuticals was the major concern of the Order of Pharmacists. The order revealed that the distribution of illicit pharmaceuticals does not only cause harm to the economy and legitimate distribution channels, but endanger human health. But beyond their worries, the percentage of Cameroonians who abuse the consumption of pharmaceuticals is as a result of poverty. Unable to acquire first aid generics from pharmacies, they have no choice but to lean on peddlers, a majority of whom are not trained. Moreover, the roadside medications are known to be stored under unconventional conditions, which make them unfit for human consumption.
And just to know that today is observed worldwide as World Tourism Day, a day set aside to raise awareness about covering the social, cultural, political, and economic contribution of tourism towards gaining the sustainable development goals. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is a debrief with Alain Gisleng with our journalist in Yaoundé. We'll also have news in the French language at exactly this 9h50. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition. Good night.